All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of The Beard and the Bookie. As always, I am the Bookie Dan. The hairy one in the middle is the Beard Josh, and the South Park looking man to the far right is Carl.
That's
Carl
me.
has come out of the comments and onto the screen because, well, frankly, he has too much to say, so we put him on screen.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. We're here to help.
Happy to have you, man.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so let's. Since I usually forget to put this on, let's let the ticker run there on the bottom, and let's start. So, since Carl is on here, let's direct this start to Carl because Carl, in talking to me earlier, asked me, former general manager of the Marlins, David Sampson, has a podcast. So
Nothing
Carl
personal.
Yeah. So all right, we're not here to promote podcasts. Calm down.
No, we're not.
So Carl asked me, do I listen to said podcast? And I said, I've listened to it before, but not regularly. So anyway, he did a podcast on the lockout. All right. Now, being a former GM and being somebody in the, in the know, you would assume that Sampson is going to give you some inside information, correct? Josh?
I would.
Yes, absolutely.
Carl, you've listened to it, so it's all
I
know.
I listen to it fairly often. He actually was the president of the Marlins.
Oh, excuse me, president.
He was and if you really want me to be candid, he got the job out of nepotism than anything else because of his father.
Well, anyway, so he did the first 2 days of the lockout. The day the lockout was announced, and then the following day. Let me tell you something. If I didn't hear the same crap from David Sampson, former president of the Marlins, Mr. I know everybody, I know Scott Boras and blah, 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 blah. If I didn't hear the same crap that I told you all last week, I'd be damned. You might as well have taken our podcast, taken my voice out of it, put Sampson's on there, and then put his logo. That's the podcast you got.
I'd agree.
Okay? And then, to make matters worse, Josh, did I not weeks ago come on this show and lay out ideas on how MLB and the Players Association could make this CBA work?
You did.
Okay. Because, silly me, Ken Rosenthal, Mr. I wear a bow tie, puts an article out today saying what a new collective bargaining agreement should look like. All right? So, I'm not going to hit on all of this, but let's just hit on a couple of things. The luxury tax. So, I'll just give you the brief general oversight of what his argument is. For the luxury tax, he says, increase the thresholds, decrease the penalties. Who said that already?
You did.
Okay. Let's move on. Revenue sharing. Keep the formula the same, but require recipients to spend on Major League payroll. Who said that already?
You did.
What am I missing here, people?
The notoriety, the job, and the payroll. That's what you're missing.
You're missing Tony Park's job.
But the only thing that I got out of reading this article and listening to the 2 episodes of Sampson's podcast was Sampson basically broke down what I've told you about the whole revenue sharing and how these teams get around it, which is it is not, while it is assumed, it is not written in the agreement that the money that these lower market teams get in revenue sharing is put back onto the MLB roster. That's what players and other teams would like them to do, but it wasn't in the written agreement. So at the end of the year, when they're questioned of, well, how did you use this money? They have to write a letter to Rob Manfred and Tony Clark, because, he's just a statue that needs to know things. And they basically break down how the money's spent. And Sampson said, yeah, I'll say we put $4 million in the analytics department and paid minor leaguers $4 million more for guys' salaries that we hope will be major leaguers someday. And we put X amount in this and X amount of that, none of which goes on the actual MLB roster. So the whole idea of revenue sharing to help the lower market teams be more competitive. How the hell you ever get competitive if none of that money goes on the MLB roster? So that's numero uno on the list of things in the CBA, is that however they rework revenue sharing, they're going to tie it into actually doing something on the damn field.
But would you're not, I mean, we've talked about all these things, and this is like the big thing that we really, really harped on, other than like speeding up the game and just making it more interesting overall. You still have teams out there like the Pirates that are going to shortchange as much as possible. So trying to find that balance is what's going to be interesting, because a lot of those owners are going to be like, I can get these guys for way less. So why should I have to pump money in for players like a Byron Buxton who don't perform up to their contract and will never perform up to their contract?
I had to go to Buxton.
I had to every week.
Hey,
Anytime we talk baseball.
It's better than Billy Hamilton, man.
Billy Hamilton's played more games.
Oh, well, he shouldn't have.
If that's what you want to call that. But it's just like, I keep hearing the same stuff over and over again. It's the same stuff I've told you people. Like, come on.
What did you think about when Rosenthal threw out there of expanding the playoffs?
All right, the expanding playoffs thing has been out here ever since the 2 years ago when we had the 60-game season. They want the only way you're going to get expanded playoffs, which is a horrible idea.
It is a horrible idea.
All right, as far as I'm concerned, the playoffs is stretched in baseball, is stretched enough as it is. Okay, there used to be a point in time where you just had an NL winner and an AL winner play in the World Series, and then it was just division winners, and then we got wild cards, and now it's basically half the damn league. But here's the big issue: if expanded playoffs are ever going to happen, because the owners want expanded playoffs because it's more October baseball means more TV money. That's obvious. Nothing too hard to think of there. The players are going, okay, fine. We have our cut or whatever already of that. So what are we getting out? What else are we getting? If we're expanding this, okay, now it's more games, but how much more are we getting? That's always been the hurdle. Okay, it's the same thing with the universal DH. Okay, and that garbage.
Oh, you don't like that. You hate the DH.
Well, I of course I hate it, but the owners want it because the owners don't want pitchers hitting. Okay, and obviously the players want it because that's 15 higher paying jobs that'll be on the market.
Right.
So why is it a negotiation? There is no negotiation. It's just something that each side dangles out as like, oh, here we are making a concession. No, it's you both want it. Stop. Like that's like not even on the agenda. Move on. Okay, it's coming. Nelson Cruz will play till he's 75. Whatever.
Hey, designated hitters just got a big win. Tony Oliva got into the Hall of Fame, and he was a designated hitter for a bit. So, like that's a good step for David Ortiz. That means David Ortiz has a better shot at getting in now, since they're starting to let in some older designated hitters.
I don't think Tony Oliva was ever synced to PEDs though.
Yeah, that's the issue.
In the 60s,
I will say this about the Hall of Fame. I may be bringing it up a little prematurely, but Buck O'Neil did get in, and that was 20 years overdue.
A lot of these guys that just got in are overdue.
Buck O'Neil was overdue. Gil Hodge was overdue. I mean, anytime the Golden Era Committee puts guys in, they're overdue.
Right.
Here's one last thing, because I don't want to keep banging on baseball. Baseball's locked out. There's nothing going on. There's nothing to really bang the drum on. But one thing, okay, there's been talk about a draft lottery. So like you can't automatically tank like how the Astros did for all those years, just being god awful and getting numerous number one picks. So to kind of do away with that idea, we'll do a lottery. So whether it's the bottom 5, bottom 10, whatever, kind of like NBA style. My thing is continuing draft picks. I don't care if you want to do a lottery. I really don't care. But number one, make the picks tradable. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to trade draft picks. You can do it in every sport except baseball. Okay? And if prospects are such a big deal, then why aren't draft picks available? Change that. And also, something else that they'll definitely haggle over is stop attaching the draft pick compensation with these free agents. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, you're either a free agent or you're not a free agent. Not this guy's got draft pick. It's not stopping anybody.
Did they?
Right? Because he's got draft pick compensation, I'm not going to give. Corey Seager, I think, had draft pick compensation that stopped the Rangers from giving him $300 million.
No.
Let's get rid of it. It's stupid.
Did they go ahead and do the Rule 5 draft today?
We had the minor league. You won't get the major league Rule 5 because we're locked out, obviously, but we did have the minor league Rule 5 draft today.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say, big things happening there, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Electrifying content coming out of minors.
Hey, man. Minor league games are fun. Dan and I discussed it earlier.
They're fun. They're fun depending on who owns it. It's fun depending on who owns it and how much alcohol you can get. That's
they always have gimmicks. There's always some type of gimmick.
I'm happy you brought that up, Josh, because Josh, you might know who Endeavor is.
I do.
Right? Endeavor today created Diamond Baseball Holdings and purchased 9 minor league baseball teams. Okay, they will now be running all of the 4 affiliates associated with the Atlanta Braves, along with the Iowa Cubs, the Memphis Redbirds, the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Whale Riders, who are the Yankees, Hudson Valley Renegades, who are also the Yankees, and the San Jose Giants. And what I'm here to tell you is this is the first step in minor league baseball never looking the same again. Okay?
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is not in the baseball sense. Like, that's not going to change as far as guys going up and down and all that. So, like, that's not. But I mean, the whole, however you want to, the gimmicks and the, just in the middle of nowhere stadium looking like it got put up by the 3 of us type of thing. All of that is going to go away. It's going to be a mini version of Major League Baseball. It is going to be corporate driven. And the idea that you can, I went to a minor league baseball game this last summer, had seats right behind home plate. I think they cost me $25 a ticket.
Maybe 25.
Yeah, I would say somewhere in that area. It didn't cost. My point was it wasn't expensive. Those days are going to be out the window because now corporate is coming to this.
We had we went to a game pre-COVID, so 2019. We went to a Northwoods League game, so it's minor league, but it's mainly college students just playing summer ball. And they had like $45 tickets where you sat in the wine box. And we literally had mini fridges with wine and beer, and they served us food. And it was just like 6 of us in there getting trashed. And it was the most fun I've ever had. Like, it was so much fun.
I used to go to the Richmond Squirrels game, the Flying Squirrels. I used to go there all the time, man. And just like Dan said, tickets were super cheap. They always had something going on, some promotion going on. But I think I won like roller derby tickets one time. Never went to the roller derby event, but I did win 2 free tickets to roller derby or some shit like that. But it was fun, man. Like I always enjoyed minor league games. But there's also like those the independent leagues, like the Savannah Bananas and Kansas City, where they were the T-Bones, and then they actually asked the Negro League Baseball Museum if they could take over the Monarchs. So they had that going on in Kansas City, but those are independent leagues. I don't know if those are going to be affected at all.
Eric Burns
Probably
is now
not.
the ambassador of the Savannah Bananas.
Is he? I got a
Yes.
Savannah Bananas hat.
You do. I remember that.
I got one.
I went. So, like I said, this past summer I went to a Wilmington Blue Rocks game.
The old Royals affiliate.
Yeah, they are now the single A affiliate of the Washington Nationals.
Nationals, yeah.
And yeah, like I said, I mean that's just a general. It's a no thrills stadium. I don't even think the scoreboard is the video scoreboard. I think it's just digital. You know,
I have a Blue Rocks hat too, and a bobblehead of Tyler Hill.
I could whip out my Whit Merrifield bobblehead.
Oh man, got to make a trade.
But yeah, now that corporate's got a hold of it, and Josh, like I said, you know very well about Endeavor and what they do. The days of cheap minor league baseball will not be here for much longer.
Yeah, it's a shame, honestly. Like I love being able to go to a AAA game, like the Tacoma Rainiers were Seattle's AAA team. So they were literally 5 minutes from my apartment. And I love being able to go for $15-20 and sit in, first baseline and watching just guys on recovery coming up for the Cardinals or coming up for the Mariners. And like for that price, you couldn't beat it. So that's coming to an end, which is going to suck. But like, hopefully they use that money and actually make it more entertaining, keep me more actively engaged. And I'm still going.
How much do you think the price will be driven up?
Double.
It depends on what they ultimately do. Right. I mean, are they going to focus on certain sections and up that? Like Josh was saying about, some of these places have like beer gardens and stuff like that. Are they going to focus on that, making that more upscale and trying to get prices there? Are they going to make the stadium as a whole, more modern? And then that way it raises the ticket price. I think it's all about where their focus is. And I don't know that it might be a year or two before we get a clearer idea of where exactly their focus is aimed. But like I said, the only thing I know for sure is that minor league baseball will change very, very soon. Yeah. All right, Josh, let's move on. The fight is this weekend, UFC 269.
Finally, we have three people on here that all know MMA, so Chico's not going to be left out right now.
That's true. Chico will not be here saying that he's heard of that guy. So the main event is Oliveira and Justin Gaethje, obviously.
Yep. Dustin Poirier.
Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, Poirier, excuse me.
Rough start.
I was thinking of Gaethje because of where else I'm going with this. So we talked last week about Chimaev and all his Twitter call-outs, which he is still well on the path. Mm-hmm. And Khabib has been outspoken about Charles Oliveira and his stake to the belt, so to speak. And I thought what Oliveira said this week was interesting and kind of echoes what other people are beginning to say, and that Khabib's retired. I don't really care what he says. And that other guys have kind of said that they've lost respect for Khabib and guys in Khabib's camp. Whereas, when Khabib was coming up, you didn't hear Khabib talk. Khabib basically took fights, won, and moved on. They were never on social. They were never do anything. And now they're here basically playing the game like everybody else. So before we dive into this fight, I'm curious, Josh, what your take is on that mindset.
I think that's what makes Khabib, though, compared to like everyone else in Khabib's camp. Khabib was always that strong, silent type. He's like, I talk in the cage. I don't talk here. Like, I don't talk on the mic. I don't need to. I talk in the cage. And when he was literally beating up on Michael Johnson, talking to Dana White, like, you need to give me real fighters. Like, give me a real fight. Give me a title shot. Like, that's how Khabib made a statement. These guys like Chimaev and Islam Makhachev and everybody like that, they are talking outside because they didn't have the hype coming in that Khabib did when Khabib came to the UFC. So I mean, they're proving themselves and they're beating these guys that are lower tier, but they're trying to, they're trying to spit some game because they have Khabib's backing and they're Khabib's training partners and things like that. So they have a little, their chests puffed out a little bit. They're acting tough, but they're good. I mean, none of these guys are bad by any stretch. So I think that's kind of the mindset into it. I don't have an issue with it. But when Chimaev calls out like Brock Lesnar, and I just messaged you like Khabib's got to come get his boy, like that's too much. Like it made me laugh, and I appreciated it for the laughter of it. So in that regard, I was okay. Anything more than that, I'm just kind of like, like you can call out whatever fighter you want, just get an actual fight, and then I'll pay attention at that point. Like just throwing random call outs that aren't sticking or make sense necessarily doesn't do it for me.
Brock would use Chimaev like a chicken wing.
Be funny.
It would. I would enjoy it. Carl, do you have an opinion on Khabib and his group and their new tactics?
I mean, Khabib earned what he earned, but when he said he retired, nobody wants to fucking hear your mouth anymore. To be honest with you, just like Josh said, he said that he did all his talking in a cage, but why are you switching it up now? And to be honest with you, his camp, they don't have his accolades. I mean, they're good, but they don't have his accolades. And that's my issue with it. Like, don't ride the guy's back.
All right. So, again, Oliveira and Poirier is the main event. Poirier is a slight favorite at a minus 160 price, which is somewhat interesting considering he is the challenger. They expect this fight to go somewhat deep. The over 1.5 is highly juiced at a minus 185. I'll just start. I agree with the pricing. I like Poirier in this fight. I think Poirier is a guy that I don't know how to explain this. Oliveira and Josh, you can disagree with me or tell me why I'm wrong here. Oliveira doesn't seem, or I shouldn't say doesn't come off aggressive enough to me. He seems like a guy that wants to pick his spots and counter, and then if he finds an opening, he'll attack. But he doesn't push forward the entire fight. Whereas Poirier is a guy who I think can come in, can be aggressive, can make Oliveira uncomfortable, can take some punishment, and ultimately, I think that if this turns into a battle of chins, I'll favor Poirier's. So I don't have any argument with the slight favorite price tag on Poirier. Thoughts?
I like Poirier a lot more before I saw that he was the favorite going into this weekend. Normally when he's the underdog, like when he has the underdog line, he performs better, and that's normally when you kind of see him at his best. It's not necessarily like a Cowboy Cerrone where when he's the favorite he just falls flat, but like when he has that dog in him and he's treated as an underdog, he fights that much harder. So I'm a little cautious in that regard. It's still close. I mean, Oliveira's a plus 135, so it's really kind of a pick 'em, honestly. Oliveira, you're right. He's not like the over aggressive type. Like he is a pick a shot and wait for his opportunity. How many champions have we seen that have been like that though and been very, very successful? It's not the most exciting fight to watch, but you look at the guys that he's fought. He's fought, Justin Gaethje. He's fought Michael Chandler. These guys are coming forward, so he doesn't have to. He can stand back and wait for his opportunity. I mean, Chandler almost knocked him out in the first round, so we know that he doesn't have a great chin. But Poirier has been knocked out in the first round before too. So, it's really about who catches who clean in a situation like that. And Dustin's going to play a patient game. I see it definitely going over a round and a half because they're going to feel each other out, and it's going to be kind of a slow build. Not necessarily thinking it's going to be a boring fight, but there's going to be a feeling out process, and I don't think that they're just going to come at each other for the entire 5 rounds. I like Dustin in the fight, but I'm cautious just to see where his mentality's at. I think the reason why he's the favorite is because if he hadn't taken the McGregor fight, he would have had the title fight already, and he would probably already be the champion. So I think that's why a lot of people are treating him as the de facto champ with Oliveira in his way. But we'll see. I'm still pretty iffy. I think like this being a pick'em is pretty spot on. So I don't want to say for sure I like Dustin, but I could definitely see Oliveira winning this fight.
Carl?
I agree with Josh. Honestly, it does seem like a pick 'em fight, and I would definitely also agree that it's going to go over 1.5. And I think it's going to be slow in the beginning, and then maybe, I don't know, round 3, round 4, maybe we'll start seeing, a little bit more fireworks or something like that. But I like Dustin in the fight personally. But I also like Dustin, so that's my opinion.
All right. The co-main event is the women, Amanda Nunes and Juliana Pena. Nunes is a huge favorite at minus 900. Looking deeper, they don't expect this fight to last very long. The over 1.5 is slightly juiced to minus 130. The under is just even money. And if you're trying to find any price tag with Nunes, her winning methods, basically, they expect her to win by a KO. The only way you're going to make any money is to pick her to win by a submission or decision at plus 150, or if you want to get specific with the round. Josh, I know that Amanda Nunes is viewed as this unstoppable force. Does Pena have any path to victory?
She does. I think we're not necessarily walking in on like a Ronda Rousey, Holly Holm type situation, but I could see Juliana Pena is really good on the ground. So I think if you're going to bet the over 1.5, I think that you are of the belief, as I am, that Juliana is going to try and get this to the ground and try and work a submission game against Nunes. I think that Nunes will probably work ground and pound or be able to get up and get out. But I think it's going to be a lot of grinding up against the cages where Pena is probably going to want to take the fight. She's going to want to lean on her and try and tire her out and wear her down a little bit and make it last a little longer to see if she can catch her with something. That would be my best guess at a game plan. I don't think Juliana Pena has really ever had the power to match somebody like Nunes, especially since Nunes is also fighting at 145. So, yeah, she has a chance, but it's going to be on the ground, and it's going to be later rounds, like 4th or 5th round. She might try and pull something out if it goes that far. If she tries to stand and bang with Nunes, it's probably not going to last long, unless they're by some freak accident. She knocks Pena down. Pena lulls her into some kind of submission and catches her quick early, but that's unlikely.
Carl?
My only concern with Nunes is she going to have any rust? Because she hasn't fought in, 2 years? Year and a half?
It's been like 18 months, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so that would be my only concern with her. But I don't know how that's going to go. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's going to affect her in any way.
I am. Now, I'm not advocating you go do this, but at a 6-1 price tag, there are enough ways that I can think of for Pena to win this fight that I would take a stab with it. Because, as Josh alluded to, I think Pena is smart enough to know that she can't get in there and want to bang with Nunez or sit there and take shots. That's just not an ideal game plan to try and take a belt. But she also knows, or I would hope, unlike that last fight that we watched, Josh, where the chick just didn't do anything. I forget who it was, but I don't think she knew how to win a fight. Pena, I think, is smart enough to know that she's going to have to at least appear aggressive if she's going to win this fight, especially if for some reason it goes to the cards, which in an ideal world she really can't afford, because if you go to the cards and you're the challenger, you're going to have to overwhelmingly win to win the cards. So, yeah, Pena's going to have to hit some shots here and there, but ultimately get Nunez to the ground and show that she can hold her there, show that she can do a little work, even if it's in patches and not holding her there for 3-4 minutes in a round, but just show enough that she's got the advantage and she can hold the advantage. Okay, if there's one thing that we have seen from UFC judges over the last few UFC events, you don't have to do much on the ground to make it appear like you have the advantage on the ground. So if Juliana can even do a little bit, she can certainly sway the judges in her favor. And if there is one knock on Nunez, it's the ground game a little bit. So, yeah, at 6-1, I have no problem taking a shot with Juliana.
I did look it up, just so you guys know. March 6th, Nunez fought Megan Anderson. That was the Jan Blachowicz Israel Adesanya card. So it's been almost a year, like 9 months since her last fight. So, yeah, I thought it had been longer. I totally forgot that fight even happened.
I don't think anybody remembers that fight happening.
It was quick. It was over so fast.
As far as the undercard, there's not a whole lot jumping out. Josh, I don't know if there's any fights that jump out to you. Like I saw just going through this, I think the biggest name that jumps out to some people is Dominic Cruz. He's fighting Pedro Munoz. Tai Tuivasa is on the undercard. He's a heavyweight that you guys may have seen. Dan Inge, Cody Garbrandt, stuff like that. So Carl, while Josh steps away, I think Teddy is a little angry at the moment. While he steps away, is there anything on the undercard that jumped out to you?
Not particularly. If there was one fight that wasn't mentioned, it's the O'Malley fight. To be honest,
yeah, O'Malley is a heavy favorite.
He is. Yeah, he's.
Let me look at that. I think he's
305,
310.
Yeah, I have 305. Yeah, I mean he's a heavy favorite, but I like O'Malley. He's exciting. So I am looking forward to that fight.
Just looking at, again, none of these fights on the undercard really jump out. Just looking at a few though. Miranda Maverick is fighting Aaron Blochfeld. Maverick is a slight favorite at -135. I would probably take a shot with Maverick there. Talked about Tuivasa. Tuivasa is a guy that, like, if it gets beyond round one, he's probably screwed.
Right.
So, but that's basically a pick'em fight there with Tuivasa. And I'd like. Go ahead.
I have Dominic Cruz. They're both at 110. I mean, that's a pick.
Okay. Mine has Cruz as even money with Munoz as a -120.
I have them both at -110.
Okay. The fight after that fight, when Josh comes back, I want to bring up to him. Josh Emmett against Dan Ige. Ige is a +145 underdog. I like Dan Ige in that fight.
I do too.
I
like him too.
So, but yeah, that's really it for the undercard. So here, Josh is just sitting down here. Maybe he's got Teddy pacified a little bit. Let's see.
Yeah, Yeah, we just put him to bed. So sorry about
Oh.
that. Had to,
Hey,
had
all
to
good,
run
all good.
upstairs.
Is he
All good.
grumpy?
The prince was not happy, so we needed to make him happy.
He's at that stage where he's got like gas bubbles all the time, so he's very uncomfortable when he's awake. So we're going to put him to sleep again. That's all that
I
was.
hear you.
Sorry, go ahead.
Josh. Well, we were talking about if there were any fights on the undercard that jumped out to you. So I'll let you tell me what jumped out to you. But real quick, I just wanted to point out one that jumped out to me, which is this Josh Emmett versus Dan Ige fight. Ige is a Ige, sorry. Ige is a plus 145 dog. I like Ige.
I do too. Let me see here. Yeah, that's a good fight. The main card is really stacked, though.
The O'Malley fight, man.
Sean O'Malley versus Paiva. Like Sean O'Malley only at a minus 305 is kind of a shock. I figured it would be a bigger margin. Cody Garbrandt and Kai Kara-France. Like that's Cody's introduction at flyweight now. So like that's an interesting fight to see how he does at flyweight. Kai Kara-France is not a pushover. Garbrandt hasn't had a good chin, hasn't looked good at 135 in the last couple of years. So I'm really interested to see what he does at flyweight. Let's see.
What do you think about Dom?
Sorry, who?
Dom Cruz against Munoz.
That's a toss-up for me. I could really go either way. I think Dom wins just because his footwork and his output is still so awkward. His chin's a little bit better. Munoz is aggressive, but Dom still has the ability to get out of the way and be as elusive as he ever was. So I think Dom wins that fight. I think if Munoz comes with overwhelming force, he might be able to sneak in a stoppage with the way some of the refs have been stopping fights lately. But I think Dom wins that pretty easily. I think it goes unanimous decision, but I think he wins.
What about I was talking about Tuivasa against Sakai. I was like, that screams like 2 minutes.
That's a pick 'em, so somebody's going to sleep. I like Tuivasa in that. I
like Tuivasa assuming it doesn't get past round one.
Yeah, if it goes past round one, he's screwed. Like he's not going to win.
He's done.
Yeah, I mean he's very much a one round wonder, as they said, like Conor McGregor was for all those years, which was kind of true. But yeah, I like Tuivasa early. A lot of the heavyweights right now are all first rounders. If they don't finish in the first round, they're kind of screwed. So, I mean, you look at Tuivasa, you look at Jairzinho, Rosenstruck, you look at even Francis Ngannou, who's a one-rounder. Stipe was really kind of that grinder, could wear you down. Derrick Lewis could do that too. So you had those guys, but a lot of the up-and-comers, well, I guess Cyril Gane is kind of a grinder, but we'll see how he does against Ngannou. But the bigger names that you're seeing right now are those one round, like go for the knockout and go quick. So I think it only does go the one round. I think Tuivasa wins it. And I think the UFC really wants Tuivasa to win that because he has the better personality of the two. He's the more marketable guy. That's how I see that going.
And one other undercard fight that popped out to me, unless you have something else, is Miranda Maverick is fighting Aaron Blanchfield. Maverick is a slight favorite, minus 135. I like Miranda to win that fight. I mean, I know she hasn't been great.
Yeah.
Okay. She hasn't been great lately, but I think this is a get right fight.
She's so young though. Like she's new. So she's still on her way up and figuring out what fight style works best for her and still trying to feel out like her competition. So I don't hate this fight for her. Blanchfield's not a pushover, but it's definitely a good test to see like where she's at. I think she wins it pretty easily. I don't think she struggles at all. I do have a fight on here that I do want to see. And that's Ryan Hall versus Derrick Minner. Ryan Hall is just that dude that you see in a bar that doesn't look intimidating, doesn't look like he can fight, and is just like the least imposing person around. And then he gets in there and he pulls some quick shit, and all of a sudden you're tapping. Like, he's the guy that pulled, I'm pretty sure he pulled an Imanari roll on like BJ Penn, I think, like in 30, like a minute and a half or something. He just rolled up with an Imanari roll and tapped BJ Penn. Like, granted, at the end of BJ Penn's career, but like, that guy is just so nonchalant about everything, but he's so good and so dangerous. So I'm actually looking forward to see him because he hasn't fought in quite a while. He was fighting pretty consistently for a bit there, and he hasn't fought in a while. So I do like that one. I thought I had another one on here. No, the Emmett versus Ige.
No, I was saying you're right. It's been a while since I heard Ryan Hall's name.
Everybody else on here? No, not really. The Ige Emmett fight I think is going to be good too. There's a lot of lot of pick'em fights. I'm surprised. Like, I have Cruz and Munoz both at -110. So
yeah, so does Carl. I'm the only one
that's what I got
Cruz at
too,
plus
yeah.
money.
Yeah, I give that to Cruz pretty easy. Yeah, there's nothing else on there that really excites me. The whole card is good though. Like, this is a very good fight card they put together for the last one of the year. So I don't think that we're going to be disappointed at all. Even like Jeff Neal and Ponzinibbio is going to be a great fight too on the main card. So we'll see. I think overall it'll probably there might be a couple fight of the year contenders in here potentially. I'm looking at some big finishes though for sure. I think Sean O'Malley is going to get a big finish. I think Tuivasa is going to get a big finish. Poirier and Oliveira could be a fight of the year contender. Nunes probably gets a huge knockout, or Pena pulls off submission of the year, one of the two. So there's some big implications possible for this card. It's going to be great though.
Pena upset of the year.
There you go.
That too.
I hope she wins.
Are you putting money on it?
I don't know if I put money on it. I just said I hope she wins.
6-1, I would put money on it.
I mean, you don't look like a fool if you win. So
The last time I put money on Nunes, she failed me. I just will say that. I think I had picked like the way she was gonna win, and I ended up.
Oh.
Yeah, I said she was gonna knock her out, and she did not knock her out.
She probably won that one by submission, or
I believe she did.
Valentina fights,
Yeah, and I was not very happy.
She's well rounded, man. What are you gonna do?
Hey, you got to take your shots.
Sure.
All right. Let's move to football. And let's start with college football. And we officially have our Final Four. And let's just start with this. First, okay, the three of us last week told you that Oklahoma State would lose. So you're welcome. Okay. And more importantly, okay, for weeks, this guy in the middle here, looking like a hobo Santa Claus, has been trying to tell you that this is a down year for Alabama, and Alabama not that good, and I was over here telling you it's Alabama. It's like Brady, okay, who I'm going to get to later. You just never put the dirt on the coffin because you're never you're not sure that they're dead until they're like dead and buried. And Bama was never dead and buried. Auburn had a chance to bury them, and then the guy was an idiot and ran out of bounds. Okay, and that was the sign right there. As soon as he ran out of bounds and they beat Auburn, you knew they were beating Georgia. It was a sign from the gods. And there it was. When all I needed was for Josh to be right. All these weeks when I said, you're wrong, I've seen this before, it's not going to happen. When all I needed you to do was be right one damn time, Josh. No, Alabama has to go and beat Georgia and therefore close the door that was ajar for Notre Dame. So now we are sitting here. Go ahead. Go ahead. You can respond.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No. So you're going to hear this. I'm not technically wrong. This is a down year for Alabama because Alabama's streak of wins against non-ranked opponents is gone. The streak against former coordinators is gone. Losing to Texas A&M and having that close game with Auburn. I told you that the Auburn game was going to be weird. And that was the first ever overtime in Iron Bowl history. And Alabama played like absolute shit in that game. And I think that it was honestly because, Auburn was talking shit on the sidelines and doing things like that kind of reinvigorated them and got them back in.
Hold on.
But
there's nothing weirder in Alabama Auburn than the kick six. Okay. Just, you're not talking about that one.
Yeah.
I threw my TV at that one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got blackout drunk that night because I don't remember what I did after that game. I was very upset. The big thing though is like this. I wasn't anticipating the offense to come out and play like that, and I wonder if it's because Saban and Kirby Smart were together for so long that Saban was intentionally holding back on some things because Kirby Smart said at halftime, like, we didn't anticipate Bryce Young running. Like, we didn't anticipate him being mobile. And I was like, yeah, he comes out every week and says that he doesn't like to run. He doesn't like to hold on to the ball and take off. He likes to get rid of the ball. So I wonder if like that was Saban just trolling the entire season. Like if he's just been holding on to that and been like, that's in my back pocket. Now I have this. So I was absolutely surprised, but I give all credit to the success of Alabama these past couple weeks, to the man on my, I guess you would be on my left or on my right on screen. Carl is Captain Positivity for me.
Positivity, baby.
Yep. So all the positivity when it comes to Alabama comes from Carl, because I literally message him, and I'm just talking shit about how much this fucking sucks and we're not going to win this game. And Carl's like, just be positive, man. And then
positive.
So you can thank
Carl
for Alabama's success.
Let me get this straight. Carl gets to thank you when I'm the guy every week on here telling you you're wrong about Alabama. Alabama's fine. And even during the Auburn game, after the guy stepped out of bounds, I told you you'd win the game, and you told me to shut my mouth.
I did tell you. I do want to point out that yep, he does, because there was a segment on this show one week where you said, "Is Josh right about Alabama?" and you agreed with me. That's why you don't get a thank you.
There was one.
That's all it takes.
One week where I was a little out of my mind, and then I came completely back to, wait a minute, no, this is Alabama, you're wrong.
Yeah, well, that 1 week is the reason why you don't get a thank you.
All right. Well, anyway, let's skip over you. Let's go to Carl. Carl, obviously, having lost the game had no bearing on Georgia. Georgia basically loses the 1 seed and drops down to the 3 seed. There are people in the quote unquote experts who say that, after the fact, say we shouldn't have been surprised that Georgia lost. Look at the situation. Georgia had really nothing to play for. They were in the playoff no matter what the outcome. And look at Alabama. It was their season on the line. And I say, this is Monday morning quarterback horseshit. We sat here last week saying, if you're Georgia, there's nothing more that you would want to do than to win this game. Not only to solidify the 1 seed and be undefeated, but to make sure you don't have to deal with Alabama in the playoff. So I wonder, has your perception changed post-game, looking at it as, well, Georgia maybe just didn't show all the cards because they had nothing to play for? Or is this the grave injustice that it should be?
Absolutely not. I think Georgia was exposed. They were giving up. First and foremost, I think the SEC East was weak this year. Clemson wasn't who we thought they were going to be. They obviously had a down year. I don't even think they played in the ACC title game. I think it was like Pitt and Wake Forest or some shit like that. So they were giving up 6.5. They were averaging, their defense was only giving up 6.5 before the Alabama game. That was doubled by the second quarter.
They averaged 17 points a game all season. Like their defense held teams to 17 points. Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like they weren't giving up anything. I think Georgia was exposed, and I think it hurts them a little bit. I mean, would you rather play Michigan or would you rather play Cincinnati? So you can say that they weren't.
Well, you know my stance on that.
Yeah, but my thing is, well, of course I know yours because you guys always beat fucking Michigan. But I mean, Georgia had something to play for, and the fact is they, Mark Richt used to get it all the time when he was the Georgia coach. Now Kirby's getting it now from the national championship and the other SEC title games. They can't get over that hump, and I don't think there was anything more than what they wanted than to beat Alabama and really ruin their season. The A&M loss, look, they played at Kyle Field. That's a tough place to play. Jimbo, I mean, he's not a terrible coach. He has a national championship with Florida State. Auburn game, it's Auburn. It was at Jordan Air, so you get what you get. I think that Bryce Young pretty much summed up the Heisman with that win against Georgia.
I think you're crazy, but okay.
Who else?
CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
CJ
what?
Stroud?
You want to talk about? You want to talk about players?
I gotta break up. I was like, you have to explain CJ Stroud as your Heisman.
You mean Ohio State CJ Stroud?
Ohio State CJ Stroud. Yep.
There's no way.
Oh, I know exactly what he's talking about. That's why I asked for an explanation.
Yeah. No, I can see. I mean, he is a finalist, so he is up there. The main reason why I say great. CJ Stroud.
Manti Te'o was a finalist.
Yeah, I know, and he had a fake.
Hey.
much like Notre Dame's playoff hopes, his girlfriend was phony. Anyway, I'm not sorry.
Okay, can you give me your asinine reasoning for this?
Yeah, I'd say you look at what it means to get like the Heisman to be this year. I don't think it's honestly like looking at everybody. It's not who's the best player in college football. It's who means the most to their team. Really is kind of the bigger theme this year when it comes to the Heisman, because Bryce Young, in my opinion, is good. He's not great. Like if he wins the Heisman this year, he needs to win the Heisman the rest of his college career.
Well, he's a sophomore.
Exactly. But like, he needs to win his junior and senior year then, because he's not playing at his biggest potential. You look at CJ Stroud, who's a freshman. Came into Ohio State, looked not great early on. I remember talking shit about him the first couple of weeks, and then he really rebounded and he took control of that offense and he made them a lot better. Now, CJ Stroud is not the best player on Ohio State either. Like he's not the best player there. But as far as impact on their team and got them further, I put more of what CJ Stroud did to get Ohio State to their record over what Bryce Young has done for Alabama. Like Bryce Young had help from Jamison Williams. He had help from Mechie. He had Brian Robinson Jr. like back there bailing him out a lot. So he had all these pieces around, just like every Alabama team does, where they have so many different players you can throw in there.
But you're acting like Ohio State has 2 stars right now.
They've got Chris Olave.
Hold on, Carl. I got you covered here. Okay. First off, CJ Stroud's Heisman went out the window as soon as they lost to Michigan. Okay. I don't care that he's a finalist. Whoop de freaking do. You can sit in the chair and look nice. You're not winning the Heisman. Okay. And as far as look at who Bryce Young has. I'm sorry. Did Joe Burrow not have a cavalcade of NFL talent when he won the Heisman?
Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Yeah. He had a haul.
Yeah. So the talent around you, okay, Devontae Smith was an outlier. The Heisman goes to the quarterback. So the talent around you boosts your resume. It doesn't hurt you. It's not like, oh, well, look at all the weapons I have. I'm not the best player on this roster. They don't look at that. They go, dude, that's the quarterback. He just went into he just played Georgia in the SEC championship, a defense that doesn't give up any points, and lit them up like a Christmas tree.
They couldn't run the ball at all. Alabama could not run the ball at all. I think in the fourth quarter they had 2 possessions, and they couldn't even run 3 minutes off the damn clock. And I will say this about the Alabama game. Two more things. I think Mechie tearing his ACL. That's not pretty. You know what I mean? For defenses focusing on them, maybe not Cincinnati, but Cincinnati has some really good corners. I mean, that's what they're really known for right now in that quarterback. And then the other thing is Georgia. Kirby Smart needs to figure out his quarterback situation. Stetson, I don't know, if Stetson Bennett can really get it done, because he proved that he could not get it done against Alabama on Saturday night or Saturday.
He didn't have bad numbers, though.
He didn't have bad numbers, but he wasn't doing anything.
But Carl, the Georgia problem is always the Georgia problem. Okay, you can have Stetson Bennett back there. You can have JT Daniels back there. Do you trust either of them to win you a big game?
I trust Aaron Murray more than I trust either of them.
Okay, Aaron Murray's been graduated 18 years now?
He would have beat him had that receiver not fallen on the damn ground.
I trust Matt Stafford.
Oh, God.
Bring him back to Georgia.
How about David Green?
But no.
The old lefty.
I was like, there's nobody Georgia's putting behind. There's nobody Georgia's putting behind center that gives me the utmost confidence that they're winning a big game. Okay, and that's what the crazy thing about. Go ahead.
That damn tight end Bowers, that dude was a fucking animal, and he's a freshman, I think. They had no answer for that tight end at all. He would have been. Had Georgia won that game, he would have been the player of the game easily. The way he lit that defense up.
So looking at the playoff and the New Year's bowl games, starting with the playoff first. That's the crazy thing about this Georgia-Michigan game is that I look at the Georgia quarterback situation, and again, I don't care if it's Stetson Bennett, I don't care if it's JT Daniels, I don't have faith in either of them. And then on the other hand, for somebody that banged the Michigan drum pretty early, as far as is this the year Michigan finally gets over the hump, I'm sitting there playing devil's advocate now, looking for the Harbaugh stumble. As much as I saw it coming, this is the year, it looks like this is the year they're going to get over the hump, and then they did, and they don't stumble against Iowa, and they just destroyed Iowa. It was convincing. I'm still sitting here going, I know Harbaugh. At the end of the day, I know Harbaugh finds a way to mess this up. So it's who is the lesser of two evils in this situation? I mean, based on the line, I'm taking Michigan. I think anything over a touchdown is thank you.
My thing is again, as I said before, I think the SEC was weak this year. I mean, Florida was down. They just fired Dan Mullen. Like I said, Clemson. Well, that was the first game of the year. But Michigan hasn't really played. I mean, other than Ohio State. They played Wisconsin. They played Wisconsin. They lost to Michigan State, and then they played Iowa. Who trusts Iowa? It's fucking Iowa.
They beat Penn State too.
Barely got past Penn State. I think it was 21-17.
Yeah.
They did.
Win and survive, man.
College football is a win and survive. Exactly. So I don't know if they played them at home or if they were in Happy Valley that game.
That was in Penn State.
Yeah, It was probably their whiteout, unless their whiteout was Ohio State.
I think their whiteout was Ohio State.
It's
it was
always
Ohio
Ohio State.
Yeah. But then, like, you can say the same thing about Alabama. Alabama barely gets past Auburn. Like, who has Alabama played that's really been of worth this year? They played Miami. Won.
Well, Saban's a better coach than Harbaugh, if you want to know my opinion.
Well, absolutely.
And I think he will prepare Alabama better than
you have to tell Josh that, please don't go down that road.
I think coaching will play a big part in it, and I think coaching had a big deal with the Auburn game. Saban was a better coach, and coaching, you got to tell that you have to tell that running back he has to know, stay in bounds. Don't, whatever you do, don't run out of bounds. Like, the clock needs to keep going, and that's coaching. And Saban just out coaches people. He's a better coach than Kirby Smart. Jimbo got him, but I mean, that's not the first time Alabama's fallen to, A&M Kyle Field.
We lost to A&M. Well, that was Jimmy or Johnny Football.
Fuck.
The last time that A&M beat us. So, it's been a while.
Which was a fluke as well. I mean, it was a fluke. It was a fluke year for them.
That was here that we lost like 3 games, I think.
I'm saying the Manziel loss was not.
That was a fluke because we came back and kicked the shit out of them.
Yeah, the next year they had as obviously the CBS game of the week, and it wasn't even close. It wasn't even a contest.
All right.
My question,
Josh.
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. You can ask the question.
No.
So the line is Georgia minus 7.5. Okay, as I said, I think if I'm getting Michigan over a touchdown, I'm kind of obligated to take it at this point. Your thoughts on the game and your question?
Yeah, no, that was my question. Was like looking at Georgia's overall schedule, it was really like Clemson and then an underrated or overrated Florida team, and then Alabama. Like they played Auburn, they played Tennessee, so they played their SEC teams, but there wasn't anything special on their schedule. Seeing the way that they handled the Alabama game didn't go very well. How are they going to handle? I mean, an Alabama team that was on the ropes after Auburn, how are they going to handle a Michigan team coming off a huge win against Iowa that has all this momentum from a fan base that hasn't been in a playoff before, hasn't been at this level in a very long time? Like, how are they going to kind of meet those expectations or stand up to that? I think they can do it, but like Michigan was the team that I was more concerned about, obviously, because Cincinnati is not a Power 5 team, so we're not really too worried. So I don't know. I could see Michigan winning this game. So I think a touchdown is about right, but if they do more than a touchdown, I would definitely take the Michigan line. I think Harbaugh could win it. I would love to see a Michigan-Alabama national championship game, just because I don't want to see Alabama-Georgia again. Like we get too much criticism whenever it's 2 SEC teams in the finals anyway. So I think it would be better overall if Michigan won. I could see them winning, and Harbaugh's epic collapse being in the national title game maybe pushes him back to the NFL. Would be interesting. So if gun to my head, if you ask me, I'm going to take Michigan over Georgia, but I mean, I could definitely see Georgia winning it. I just think Michigan has the momentum to carry over that could put them on top.
All right, Carl, 7.5. What side do you take?
Oh, man, to be honest with you, is how good is McNamara and Haskins going to play for Michigan? I mean, is McNamara going to be able to throw the ball around, and is Haskins going to be able to run? Because I'll tell you what, Iowa is not Georgia with that defense. And I think the Iowa game, the score was inflated because Harbaugh won in style points for that number 1 ranking. So, but then on the flip side, do you really trust Georgia's quarterback? We don't like people named Stetson here, so
the man's named after a hat.
Come on, it's a hat. So I would honestly, I would lean Georgia on this game. And I will give Josh this. He is right.
All right.
Michigan does have all the momentum, but I think Georgia's going to come out and just punch him in the fucking face.
Probably.
Just quickly going back to what Josh said about Michigan kind of needing to win this game because we don't want to see an SEC rematch. You need Michigan to win the game because we've sat here and like, oh, great. Well, you have Michigan and Cincinnati. It's new blood in the playoff. Okay, well, one of them's got to win or else it's the same old, same old. So here, let's bring the stash in here.
College football is also, look at this guy.
We're going to the quad box.
I dig it.
Yeah. The other issue with college football is it is a regional sport. So if you do get Georgia and Alabama in the national championship, that hurts the sport. You kind of do want that Michigan fan base.
Yeah.
For everything.
The only thing it hurts is my stomach. It makes me vomit. Chico, since you just entered, you can enter the conversation. Georgia is giving 7.5 to Michigan in their playoff game. My stance is anything over a touchdown is a gift to take Michigan. Your thoughts? I mean, you are the man that predicted Michigan would beat Ohio State.
True. And Michigan will beat Georgia, so it's going to happen again. So you take the 7 anyways because they're going to win regardless. And you just run with that.
There you go. There you have it. All right. So let's move to the game in which
giving out free money, okay?
Pay your car note.
Alabama is playing a fake school known as Cincinnati, who somehow managed to make it to the playoff.
Hey. I just got accepted to the college.
Carl goes to school there, okay?
Yeah.
He's going to.
I am majoring in French.
Well,
you didn't have to throw that out there.
They're a fake football school. They're a fake football school that got propped up thanks to one win. Okay, that's it. So congratulations. And now they get sent to what is known as the slaughter against Alabama, and I'm talking from that personally. I know how that goes. So I'm going to make this really quick because I don't
lose as much as Notre Dame does, so they'll be fine.
Thank you, Chico. We don't need to analyze this game. I'm just going to ask this, and I don't need to ask the man on the top right because I know his answer. Is anybody taking the points with Cincinnati?
What's the spread?
Hold on. No, it's 13.5. It was never 18.5.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I'll put my hand down then.
Yeah, I was like, put your hand down. But
here's
all right. Well, Chico, you're taking 13.5, or are you going to get crazy and take money?
No, Bama's going to win. They're going to roll them over. Cincy's good run. They'll be back. They're going to the Big 12. That's a Power 5 conference, so we're not going to have to worry about them not being a Power 5 team making it.
God.
Josh, you know what is in play for this game?
What?
We're going back to Bama first half, boys.
Ooh. Here's a.
I don't trust it.
Bama -7 first half all day.
Okay, yeah, I'll take that. Here's a question for you, Dan. Since I'm just going to leave my opinions on this game are well known, but here's something for Dan.
We don't need to hear from you.
No, show of hands on this one. Do we think that the final score to the Alabama-Cincinnati game is going to be more embarrassing or less embarrassing than the last time Notre Dame played Alabama in the playoff?
That was 42-14. No, that was the national.
Less embarrassing.
Okay, just checking.
Well, Cincinnati's a real football team. That's why.
Well, okay. So as Carl mentioned, 42-14. Will Cincinnati score 14 points?
Possible.
No, not possible. Will they? Yes or no? I'll take the under.
I think 14 is a fair number.
I think they can.
Maybe some style points at the end of the game.
Yeah, garbage time.
Style points for what? Morale?
Yeah, they want to
Statue
prove their.
of
They want to
Liberty
prove the
play, baby.
G5 belongs.
Fiesta Bowl, Boise State, Oklahoma. Watch,
Let me
it's
put it
gonna
this
happen.
way.
What?
Boise State's playing
Cincinnati
Central
is
Michigan
walking
in
in
the
there.
Arizona Bowl.
I'm talking about Cincinnati is gonna have to pull some trickery plays out of their playbook there,
Oh,
like Boise
okay.
State did against Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl
Okay.
25
Put it this
years
way.
ago, whenever that was.
Cincinnati is walking in there waving the flag of every non-Power 5 school that thinks they're worth a damn. I'm talking to you, UCF, with your fake
UCF.
national title.
Easily.
Yeah. Okay. Waving for all them that they to be in the playoff. And guess what? 3.5 hours after that kickoff, that flag will never be waved again. Okay? So
What?
the chat and whoever else that's been clamoring for
Thunder
weeks
Mifflin.
about, Cincinnati hit the playoff. Welcome to the slaughter. Enjoy.
They're gonna have a better
It's gonna
shot
be
next year
horrible.
when they're in the Big 12.
No,
You think they're
Baylor will ruin that because they always ruin the Big 12's chances at a national championship.
Yeah,
That's just
Cincinnati's
Baylor.
not getting past Baylor.
That's Baylor. That's Baylor's MO.
Cincinnati's
We'll
winning
lose
a
3
Big 12
games and then
championship right
finally,
away. Calling it.
yeah, right.
Look it. I'm the master of future bets. Okay, so just take it. You're gonna win. You're gonna thank me later when you're cruising in a
Quickly,
new
let's run
Tesla.
through the other. We'll do a bowl show next week, or maybe around Christmas, one or the other, right before the bowls start. But we'll just touch on the other New Year's real quickly. Notre Dame is laying 2 to OK State. OK State had their chance to go to the playoff and they choked. I'll lay the 2 with Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's got a lot of positive momentum with the coaching hire. Really feeling like had things fallen their way, they deserve to be in the playoff. I think they'll cover the 2 without a problem here against OK State. Chico, I assume you're going to take OK State because you hate everything that's associated with Notre Dame.
Yes,
Okay, valid.
they shouldn't even be in a
Josh?
bowl.
I'm also riding with OK State here.
Boom!
Yep, I think that OK State, while not great playing in the Big 12, has still played a higher level of competition overall than Notre Dame, and I think they're more prepared. And a 2-point gap very easily means they can win this game, so I'd like them.
All right, Carl.
You know what? Had I not watched the end of that Big 12 title game where Oklahoma State had the ball at the 1-yard line twice, got bailed out with a pass interference. I don't know, man. Like, I really like Mike Gundy as a coach. I think he's underrated, but I would take Notre Dame in that game.
All right, there you go. Split. Ohio State is laying 6.5 to Utah. I'll lay the 6.5 with Ohio State. I mean, Josh is over here telling me how CJ Stroud's going to win the Heisman, so 6.5 should be easy.
I mean, yeah.
Plus Utah sucks.
Oh, Whittingham's a good coach.
Utah sucks. Ty
a good
Whittingham
coach against
Ty
Oregon.
Whittingham?
He's not a bad coach.
No,
He's
Utah
not bad
are.
against Oregon.
Ohio State.
That's about it.
Let's make it easy. Anybody taking Utah with the 6.5 here?
No.
No.
Okay, easy enough. Ole Miss is the dog against Baylor. Lane Train getting 1.5. I'll take Lane Train.
Hell yeah!
I'll take Baylor.
And you're a fool.
And I'll have my popcorn ready.
Oh. I will take Lane. I will take Lane Kiffin.
All right, Josh.
You guys are going to look like
Josh
idiots.
the lone rule.
Never bet on Lane Kiffin in a bowl game.
He's
not on the tarmac. He'll be okay.
There we go. I knew I was forgetting one more. Hold on, let's bring it up here.
You're forgetting 2. There's 2 more games you haven't brought up yet.
No. There's only one more major one.
No,
if
you're
I can
wrong.
find it.
The
All
most
right. There
important
we go.
game is happening this weekend.
That's true.
No, well, yeah, we'll get. I was saving that for the end. I'm not doing that. We're just
Okay,
going
fine.
through
Okay,
the
fine.
games right now. The other major bowl game is Pitt and Michigan State. That is actually a pick 'em. I'll ride with Mr. Pickett.
I will too. Yeah, I think he
Is
wins
he
that.
playing?
They said he is.
I haven't heard that he isn't. I mean, if he
Pickett's
wasn't, that would
playing,
certainly change
So
things.
is Pitt.
And not to mention, if Pickett isn't playing, how is that a pick 'em?
I didn't know it. I didn't know. I thought there were questions whether or not he was going to play.
I mean, I'm sure it could be up in the air, like all big names are at this time of year. But as of this moment, there's been nothing that said that he will not play, and the lines certainly suggest that at this moment he is playing. So, assuming that Pickett is playing, okay, me and Josh are both taking Pitt. The bottom row there. Anybody on Michigan State?
If Pickett's not playing, I'm going with Michigan State. But if Pickett is, then you got to go Pitt.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of time. We got like 3 weeks.
Thank you
I'm
for the
going-
obvious answer there, Chief.
I'm going Pitt.
Okay,
Well,
everybody's on
Pitt
Pitt
then.
then. I'll say, assuming Pickett doesn't play, which assuming Pickett plays, because if he doesn't play, then the line will be Michigan State minus like 10.
If he does one of those fake slides again, he's going to get blown up. I'll tell you that. The defender's like, I'm not going to risk it this time. I'm going right in.
Final game of the year. He doesn't have to worry
Real
about
quickly
being suspended.
Leave it all in the field.
Real quickly
Final game of the year.
before we move to the NFL, two coaching notes in college football. Obviously, Mario Cristobal has left Oregon to go to Miami as Manny Diaz has been shown the boot. So Oregon has a vacancy. And rumor has it that Oregon is looking to UCLA to fill that vacancy as they want a reunion with good old Chip Kelly.
God, no.
So I asked the Knights of the Round Table here, if you're Chip Kelly and Oregon offers you the job, do you go to Oregon or do you stay at UCLA? Stash.
Go back to Oregon.
Okay.
Lincoln
Carl?
Riley's coming in with to US. Oh,
I look with the USC hire with Lincoln Riley. I would not want to be in LA with USC. I think with the NIL and everything, Phil Knight can throw out a little bit more cash than UCLA can. So I would roll with Oregon.
Yeah, I'm also going to say Oregon. I mean, recruiting ability alone at Oregon is going to be easier than UCLA. And I'm sure that a lot of the guys that he brought in that he wants at UCLA would gladly transfer back to Oregon. They would transfer up to Oregon. All the perks that Oregon has for a guy like Chip Kelly, who's kind of reinvigorated himself and looks like a much better coach now. Like you go to Oregon, that's where you're going to get the most exposure. That's where you're going to have an easier time getting the players that you want. You take Oregon.
I'm also on the Oregon train. The last time UCLA was relevant was Josh Rosen was the quarterback. So good luck making UCLA. I mean, I thought this year said everything you needed to know about UCLA, because if you remember at the beginning of the year, Josh, you and I were real big on chipping UCLA. We thought UCLA was going to make a big jump, and it looked like they were, and then all of a sudden they quickly fell back down to earth. And I think this was probably peak UCLA for Chip, whereas he knows the Oregon situation. Right, that's there's nothing new there, and to Carl's point, you get away from the juggernaut that is Lincoln Riley and USC headed your way. So. One other news of note, a couple of weeks ago, the Giants got rid of the deadweight known as Jason Garrett as their offensive coordinator.
Aww.
And now there's a rumor that Duke wants him. Jason Garrett at Duke?
Has he coached college?
I don't think he ever coached college because he was the Cowboys' backup with Aikman, and then he just got that job because Jerry Jones loved him.
Let me ask you this. So he's going to be an offensive coordinator at Duke or the head coach at Duke?
Would assume the head coach.
I believe it was a coordinator. Because
Coach Davis was that
is still there, right?
Cutliff is Cutliff gone?
I thought Butch Davis
I thought he was still there. Hold on.
No, Butch Davis was
I'm
at North Carolina. No, that's Mac Brown. I don't know where the fuck.
say
Hold on, I'm
Butch
trying to
Davis
find it
and he
real
left.
quick.
It just says coaching vacancy.
So there's nobody there.
No, it's head coach. It is head coach.
Yeah, you're not going to bring him in as a coordinator.
Oh yeah, because Cutliff got fired last month.
For being
Oh,
trash.
Okay, I missed that. My
So
bad.
yeah, let me ask you this. Who do you think is going to have more success at the college level, Jason Garrett or Bill O'Brien?
I think Bill O'Brien is already having more success.
Exactly. So, like, as head coaches in the NFL, though, who is better, Jason Garrett or Bill O'Brien?
I think we can debate that very hardly.
We could.
We could.
Bill O'Brien was not a GM, but he wasn't the worst coach.
He wasn't a bad coach at all.
He was a bad GM.
Terrible GM. So I think putting somebody like Jason Garrett at Duke isn't necessarily a bad thing. You know, he gets to kind of relearn coaching and work himself back up from a college level, like having that NFL experience. I think Duke's a good program for him to go to because it's not high expectations.
No, it's a basketball
Here's the
school.
thing. Here's my question. Well, it's a basketball school for another year or two until Coach K leaves.
Then it's trash. Yeah.
Cutliff brought some, I guess, respect to Duke football in the fact that he was, kind of the quarterback guru for guys like, he worked with Eli, he worked with Daniel Jones, he worked with other guys that have been prominent in the NFL. So you had a little bit of cachet with Cutliff as your coach. What does Jason Garrett give you?
A great hand clap.
Jason Garrett walks into your house to recruit your kid. Is that really just going to get you, like, when he walks out the door, like, shit, I need to go to Duke? No.
The only thing I could see him getting kids go to Duke, and of course it's not going to be your 5 stars, is that they're going to learn a pro-style offense because he's going to do the same offensive style that he had for X amount of years, and that's still going to be a pro-style offense.
But everybo's running that in college.
Style?
It's going to be the same. He's not going to switch it up and go to like a run and shoot.
Chico,
James Jones or whatever.
Let me put it this way.
Who runs a run and shoot anymore? Spurrier's gone.
SMU?
Who the fuck is SMU?
What? Wait, hold on. Time out. For the first 10 weeks of the NFL season, Jason Garrett was the offensive coordinator of the Giants. They couldn't score any points.
Have you seen
We
that
really caught
roster?
Jason Garrett running a pro-style offense? Pro-style for who? The Little Giants?
The annexation of Puerto
That's
Rico.
basically
Hey,
what
man. Hey.
That Giants roster is
Dan and I have a special love for that movie.
You
That's a
can't
great
keep
movie.
He
Saquon on
needs
the
hot
field.
hands on the
Daniel
freaking
Jones is
outside.
your best running
He's better
back.
than any wide receiver the Giants have.
They don't have
Kadarius
a wide
Toney.
receiver.
They're paying
Best
80
receiver,
million
tight
to
end, and he can't
Holiday.
catch. I knew you were drinking a Coolers latte. Knew it.
Over here with my sweet tea and you're drinking beer. The fuck?
That's the way things are. All
I
right,
think it's a
let's
good move.
switch to the
Why not?
NFL.
I
We've
also
already
think
kind
he's
of
gonna
gone
go
that
play
route.
for
with
coach in
Garrett.
the USFL.
There was no NFL games this weekend. They took a weekend off.
I mean,
Don't worry, Josh. We will. We'll get to that.
We'll
momentarily.
talk.
my team lost.
But first, let's talk about something we talked about last week, which was the idea that Russell Wilson could not be a Seahawk next year. And then the report came out today that Russell Wilson would strongly consider playing for 3 teams. Those 3 teams are the Denver Broncos, who currently have Teddy Bridgewater, the New Orleans Saints, who just signed Taysom Hill to some big deal in which if he plays quarterback, he gets a lot of money. Or my sorry-ass New York Giants.
Is this your new Great White Buffalo?
Again, I asked, what about Buffalo?
Is this your new Great White Buffalo? You got Scherzer. Are you praying for Russell Wilson?
Oh, no. This is not my Great White Buffalo. This is definitely not my Great White Buffalo. I thought I made that abundantly clear last week, but I'll reiterate it again here. Knights of the Round Table. Those three teams, Broncos, Saints, Giants. Russell Wilson should go to where? I start with you, Beard, who is fumbling and God knows what over there.
I'm going to write notes down on this little piece of paper that I have here. Denver.
Note away.
Denver of those three teams is the place to go. I mean, you have Cortland Sutton, you have Jerry Jeudy, you have young pieces on defense. I've talked about how Denver has potential all year and how like Teddy Bridgewater is a solid quarterback, but he is not anything more than a game manager. You put somebody like Russell Wilson there now with they have that rookie running back too, Williams. I forget what his first name is. Javonte. Yeah, so you've got Javonte Williams there too. Russell Wilson losing out on DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett hurts, but like if you have Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, you don't hurt that bad, especially with Noah Fant at tight end. You have plenty of pieces for him to work with, and you have a better offensive line too that's able to protect him a bit more. So of those three teams, that's probably the best one for him to go to. New Orleans would be an option, but it's hard to say. Like, is Alvin Kamara still going to be happy there? They have all kinds of cap issues in New Orleans. Like you said, too, they have that big contract that just got signed for Taysom Hill. So there's a lot of red flags and a lot of questions in New Orleans. And the Giants, like, you don't want to go to a train wreck that's going to have another new head coach and a team that's constantly just beleaguered by injuries and a defense that regressed massively from last year. So you're looking at those three. Denver is the easy choice.
All right. Now, two men that reside over there in the AFC West. Let's start with the man who sits atop the AFC West. Carl, should Russ come and enter your playground?
I agree with Josh in the fact that he would have more weapons. And then Josh brought up another good point with New Orleans and their cap issues. I don't think New Orleans will have an issue moving Taysom Hill if they really want to. So they can always free that contract up. They probably won't get what they want for him. But I think Russell Wilson and Sean Payton together would be a pretty damn good combination. So, I mean, do you take the young weapons in Denver, and then you're going to go up against Mahomes every year? You're going to go up against the Chargers are the Chargers. It's like down five with a minute to go. And they get stopped on fourth. But I would lean towards the Saints. I think, but I don't know if Seattle's would want to trade him to the NFC, and that's another thing.
All right, Chico, your team likes to kill people in car crashes. So how do you feel?
Well, I don't think he wants to come. He doesn't want to come to the AFC West. He has to play against the Raiders and Derek Carr, so that's already a big matchup. He's not going to want to do twice a year, and then he can worry about those other guys over there, anyways. But if I'm Russell Wilson, I've already set myself a Super Bowl winner. I want to keep winning, but I'm also looking to build my brand and maybe life after football. Why would I go to New Orleans and why would I go to Denver when I can go to New York City?
You're crazy, man.
Where I get there, we may get a new coach, but you tell him, hey, let me have more insight. Let me help get this coach. Let's bring some guys in. Get rid of Daniel Jones. If you need to keep Saquon, keep him. And then he's already used to playing behind a really terrible offensive line as it is. So it won't be any difference when he's in New York. and he can help elevate those players that you have there because they don't have a quarterback to throw to them, and maybe they can start catching the ball and winning some games.
Why would you
Okay, so
leave
I gotta-
your team for a worse situation, though, Chico? That's the only thing about the Giants that doesn't make sense.
It's a brand
Well,
thing.
hold on.
You wouldn't understand how to build a brand.
Wait, hold on. First off,
Okay.
That's what we're doing. We're building a brand.
see, here's
All right.
the thing. Chico's argument lost steam before it ever started because he talked about Derek Carr and the Raiders, who couldn't even beat the Washington football team. Like I told you they would.
First off, we got cheated
So-
3 times out of that. Okay.
All right, so there's that. Now I'm going to tell you why, from a Russell Wilson standpoint, Chico is 100% right. Because from the Russell Wilson standpoint, this isn't a Russell Wilson decision. Who is Russell Wilson's wife?
Sierra.
Sierra.
She's the
1-2 step,
one
baby.
pushing New York. That's why the Giants have always been linked with Russell Wilson and why the Giants are on the list. So from that standpoint, Russ of the Giants makes a world of sense. Now let's take the other end of it, which is the Giants wanting Russ. No sense whatsoever. This is a team, as Josh described, and I didn't need him to, has a myriad of problems. Myriad, okay? Have no idea what I'm getting out of Saquon, okay? Still up, all right? I have no idea what I'm getting from a coaching staff. I'm losing a tight end. I'm losing the tight end after this year because I didn't trade him when I should have last year. All right, I just paid $80 million to a wide receiver who can't stay on the field. I mean, what is – all right, there's no offensive line. So what do you bring – what is Russell Wilson elevating here? What, your pipe dream that this team is close? I mean, with all the problems that you have, the NFC East has been continually bad for 4 years, and you can't even take advantage of it. Last year was your golden opportunity to take advantage of it, and you couldn't. All right, the Eagles kind of played a small part in that. All right, you could have maybe backdoor had they not sat, their quarterback for the entire second half, but that's besides the point. Russell Wilson doesn't elevate anything here. You have to solve 10, 15 problems before you ever get to the quarterback. That's why I don't bash Daniel Jones like everybody else does. Because if I was dealing with all the crap that Daniel Jones was dealing with, I might not be a lead either. Okay, Saquon is a ghost. He's a ghost. You get nothing out of Saquon. Who's their number one receiver?
Kadarius Toney.
Nobody. Kadarius Toney, who hasn't played in 6 weeks.
Dave Gettleman.
Dave Gettleman. Okay, I'm going to say something that I should not say because it is me. Dave Gettleman should have left when cancer hit. It would have been better for him and better for me.
Oh.
We had a good run as it was, boys. This was a great show.
We're getting canceled for that one. Good run.
But okay, from a and the Seahawks aren't giving Russell Wilson away. So what? The Giants are just going to give first-round picks for the next 4 years away, or whatever else? What? Just give away
Fuck
the
them
future?
picks.
It's not like they use them
Doesn't-
anyways.
Doesn't Wilson and Sierra own either the Sound, like a part of the Sounders, or the women's team, or the Kraken?
The what?
The Kraken?
Kraken.
What the hell?
Whatever. You guys know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Jesus.
You might be cranking one out. That's about it.
Yeah.
There you go.
But yes, Ross and Sierra do have ownership in one of the many organizations out there, but I don't think that necessarily
Will change
stops
anything.
them from leaving.
Drew Carey, the host of The Price is Right, has
God.
ownership stake in the Seattle Sounders, and he's a Cleveland guy.
He is a Cleveland
So-
guy.
Cleveland
Yeah,
rocks,
so,
apparently.
Cleveland does rock.
I was there. It didn't rock
I
that
don't think it
much.
does.
but-
No, it's on Lake
Sucks.
Erie. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's a shitty lake. Superior.
Yeah,
is so
any
much
of you ever
more
seen
superior.
any good?
They do own
Cities on
part of
Lake
the
Erie?
Sounders.
It is the Sounders.
Yep.
They play at the same arena, so it makes sense.
Solid
Alright.
soccer team.
So let's move off of Russ. And
True.
since Josh was so quick to point out the shittiness of my football team, let's bring up the shittiness of his. Because as me and Carl texting on Sunday, looking for the inevitable, hopeful thing that could not happen, there it was. Jared Goff making his voluptuous girlfriend jump up and down in happiness. Dan Campbell ready to eat kneecaps that he had talked about 30 weeks ago. The Lions, for the first time, almost a year to the day that they had last won a football game, the Lions get over the hump, finally get in the win column against the Minnesota Vikings. And the only question, Josh, I'm not going to pile on you, okay, because I'm a nice guy. I'm not going to pile on you here. The only question I have for you, I don't know why you're looking around when I said I'm a nice guy. Calm down. The only question I have for
I smell
you
bullshit, that's why.
I only have one question. That's it. Is on the final play with Jared Goff on the 4th and goal, needing a touchdown. How are you not blitzing?
You're not blitzing because you don't have Eric Hendricks, you don't have Danielle Hunter, you don't have Anthony Barr, you don't have any of your guys that are blitzing. Dalvin Tomlinson's playing at defensive end, and Sharif Floyd is also playing at defensive end, and you have Mike Pierce who's just coming back from an injury. Same thing with Tomlinson, just coming back from an injury. You have basically a second and third string defense out there. Zimmer not blitzing wasn't the issue that I had with that play. I'm okay with you not blitzing. What I'm not okay with is the fact that you want to give a 10-yard cushion on a fucking 4th down and goal play. Like there's no excuse for that. Even first-year rookies know you don't play that much cushion in the red zone, especially that close. Like, and I think that here's the interesting thing, and I haven't actually talked about this yet, but this is another Zimmer failing. So we talked about it a little bit this week. Do you guys know that the Vikings have co-defensive coordinators? They have 2. So it's Andre Patterson and Mike Zimmer's son, Adam. So Adam Zimmer and Andre Patterson are the co-defensive coordinators. Do you know who calls the defensive plays during the game?
I would assume Zimmer's
Adam
son.
Zimmer.
I would say Zimmer.
Mike Zimmer calls it, not his son, and not Andre. So what's the fucking point of having co-defensive coordinators if you're just going to call the plays yourselves? Like, what do they do exactly? Like,
They give them options.
Isn't that kind of the same thing with like Belichick? Who is that Belichick? Who does Belichick have on the sidelines? Who is that? His kid?
son,
Ooh, Stevie B.
the mullet.
Yeah.
the mullet,
Yeah,
Steve.
Stevie B.
The guy who's like licking his lips
Do
or
not
whatever during a
disrespect
Sunday
that
night
man.
game.
That mullet's dope.
Okay,
so I can't hate on
like
him.
he's just on the sideline. He's not calling anything.
But
No,
like,
it's Gerard Mayo. He's the one calling the D.
you just look that much more incompetent though when you name co-defensive coordinators and you don't even allow them to call plays. Like, you're just here so I don't
He's
get
trying to
fined,
look
basically.
cool for his girlfriend. God.
I was going to say, in all fairness to you, Josh, everything you say now gets trumped by the fact that Zimmer is with a smoke show.
Yeah, she's gonna leave his ass after he gets fired when they lose to the Steelers tomorrow night.
Well, they're gonna pay him still, so he's not gonna be poor.
I was going to say, he's still getting paid.
He'll get paid, but she's gonna have zero exposure. She's just gonna be another hot chick dating a creepy old wrinkly guy. Like, that's all she'll be.
Man,
And if that's what she's happy
That's
with,
what they're-
great. I won't have to
That's what they're-
talk about her anymore, though.
That's what I'm happy with.
that's what
think you'd
Chico.
be happy
That's
with
what
a
Chico
sock
aspires to be.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he'll take a sock
Chico wants to
puppet
be
right
that
now,
creepy
but he
old
doesn't
guy
fucking-
with the smoke show. All right, Carl, you were in the casino. You were there
was.
hoping, all hope, that the Lions would pull this game out. And then it happened.
It was funny because I sat at a bar where they were showing the game, but the bartender wasn't serving. So I had to go upstairs to the sports bar, and they weren't showing the game. So I was getting live updates from Dan during the game. They had another game on, and Dan and I were texting each other back and forth, And he was like, no, it's the Lions. You know, they're going to lose. And then sure enough, I get this text, touchdown, exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. And I was relieved. Come on, man, you got to give the Lions some credit. But at the same time, I was texting Josh, and Josh said, we just have too many injuries. And you did say that, and then you just reiterated that point a couple minutes ago. So I do think the injuries did play a major, factor in that loss. But it did probably seal the deal for Zimmer's departure. So look at it from a positive
Zimmer
standpoint.
sealed the deal.
And when you have to guard the back of the end zone, all right? I don't want any ball going to the back of the end zone. I don't care about the front. Guard the back. No tippy toe touchdowns back here, baby.
No, so here one last thing on this. Okay. So all of Minnesota now is on the fire Mike Zimmer train. Literally everybody that I have been arguing with the entire football season saying Zimmer needs to go, this guy's a cancer and he doesn't have it anymore, is now on my side. And I hold up this go fuck yourselves because that's who it's intended for. It's intended for you three as well, but it's for every Vikings fan who didn't listen to me the entire year. Like, now you see what I've been talking about. I do also want to say that I personally sacrificed the Vikings to the Lions just so that Alabama could beat Georgia, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. And I told you the Lions were going to win that game. So that was a double win. I gave you free money because I told you to take the Lions line in that game.
Okay, I find your note offensive, and you can go fuck yourself as well. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about the Monday night game. Because for a month now, I told you, here come the Patriots. The Patriots are coming. Then the Patriots were here. And now the Patriots have taken over. But more importantly, not only have the Patriots taken over, but Josh, your Bills Super Bowl hopes are done.
They're still
are done. Because not only did the Patriots win that game Monday night, they took the soul out of Bills Mafia, both on the field and off of it. I never, and this is strictly for Bills Mafia, I want them listening to me right now so that when you tweet the show, you can tweet it directly to me because I'm the one calling you out. Okay? Bills Mafia is so soft and so bitter after this loss that the same group that tailgates at all hours of the morning and jumps through tables and does all this crap is now whining that they don't have a dome. Are you kidding me?
They don't have a run game either.
Well, that's a whole other thing. Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, Randy Moss, whoever you want to put back there. There's no run game. That's why you have Josh Allen throwing 30 times in 30-mile-an-hour winds. Mac Jones threw 3 times in the damn game. 3 times. Okay? And that says more about your defense than anything because they told you, we're running the football. We're not going to throw. And you couldn't stop it. So I don't want to hear nothing about Bills. I don't want to hear nothing about Josh Allen. I don't want to hear nothing about Bills Mafia. It's done. Vanut. Gone. Goodbye.
Now, let me ask you
Josh
this.
Allen's the MVP still.
Did the Bills build their team just to beat the Chiefs and not the Patriots?
Pretty much.
We'll see. All those teams took 30-plus years to try and rebuild. And Belichick's like, I'll take this year off. I'll be back next year.
I mean, Miami's won 4 or 5 straight, too.
The problem with the Bills is the same. The Bills get caught up in their own hype. Everybody out here hypes up the Bills like they're the second coming when they haven't won a damn thing. Okay, it's the same thing for the next topic I'm going to go to, where we hype up somebody else who hasn't won a damn thing, and he's already starting to suck before we ever get to January.
Matt Scherzer?
Okay? The Bills won the AFC East last year because the Patriots were nowhere to be found. Okay, they won a division that basically was handed to them, and then they couldn't win in the postseason. So now that Belichick said, you know what? I've taken a year off. I've recalibrated. I've gotten some pieces. My defense came back after basically taking the entire year off because of the COVID situation. We're good. All of a sudden, the Bills can't win, and you got players at the podium pissed off at the media when they say, "Are you embarrassed?" Because they should be.
I mean, you only throw the ball 3 times, and they just ran it right down the Bills' throats. I mean, of course you're going to be embarrassed, especially at home and outside where you're supposed to be tough. Supposed to be, this is our weather. Get out of here. We need a dome. Fuck that shit.
They're not building a dome in Buffalo.
In Houston,
Bills Mafia is soft.
They just jumped through burning tables, man.
You know what, Bills Mafia?
Light the field on
Screw you.
fire.
Screw you. We're moving the team. Instead of Buffalo, we're going to Toronto.
Get colder.
Right? The Bills.
Oh, man.
The Bills are playing Toronto a few games a year or whatever. Go to Toronto. They'll appreciate this more. You soft fairies.
Wow. You're not wrong though. Like,
I'm not wrong. I speak truth on this show.
sometimes you do. Other times you throw absolute bullshit out there.
Sometimes I'm like, does this guy know we're live?
Yeah, the whole Bills thing. I know I said like Josh Allen was probably the favorite early on to win to win MVP, and then I said Matt Stafford, and clearly been wrong on both at this point.
Still got hope.
Not really. My hope is more that Derrick Henry leads the Titans past the Patriots in the playoffs than really anything else at this point. It's so tough to say like what is going on with the Bills overall, because if you remember 2 weeks ago, I think I said that we should all 3 of our teams should find new head coaches or like look at the coaching carousel to see who could come there, and the offensive coordinator for the Bills was like number 1 on my list. I was like, this is a guy who is working with Josh Allen, who is working with Stephon Diggs. You have the Bills coming back and actually looking like a decent team. That coordinator would be a perfect fit. Bring him in with an aging Thielen, but a very young Justin Jefferson and the Vikings offense. I thought it would be great. Now I'm going to backtrack on that completely. I don't want anybody on that team near us at this point because they just look incompetent.
Wouldn't be any different than your current coaching staff.
Exactly.
They don't have a running game though, and that's their issue.
Chico, that's incorrect. You wouldn't have the hot girlfriend.
We don't know what they have over there, sir.
It's true.
They just can't win football games.
Fair. So sticking with the shitty football, Lamar Jackson, did somebody tell him we're not in January yet? This isn't playoff football? Because Lamar Jackson, I can put any of us behind center and be better than Lamar Jackson right now. Lamar Jackson can't do anything. They are throwing a 0 blitz at him, and he's acted like he's never seen one before. And, I've been vocal about I don't trust Lamar Jackson. The Ravens will never get anywhere with the way Lamar Jackson plays quarterback. And I've gotten pushback. But tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong with what you see right now. Because at this point in his career, with all the games that he's played and the playoff games that he's been in, how the hell is he struggling with a 0 blitz?
I mean, the Steelers, I don't know how the hell the Steelers beat them. I mean, but I think that's indicative
because Harbaugh is an idiot and goes for 2.
Yeah, he does go for 2. You're right.
Now, hold on.
Why not kick it?
You don't blame him for the go for 2, because if he pulls that off, he's a genius. So
True.
You want to bag on anybody for going for 2? Like you yell at me and the Vikings. That's who you yell at for going for 2. You don't
But
yell
Josh,
at anybody else. You yell at us.
Josh, what about that game said, let's not go to overtime?
I mean, statement. Just trying to make a statement as a team, trying to rebound and maybe like get yourself back into a good flow. I mean, early on, Baltimore looked great. So trying to beat the Steelers, like to get a walk-off win on a 2-point would have been huge for them. While may have been ill-advised, they have had success with 2-point conversions so far this season. So I understand where their thought process was on it. But like, it was the only time they had run a 2-point that entire game. It's another thing if you run 3 2-point conversions and it's just a fucking halfback dive up the middle that everyone sees coming before the play even runs. So I'm not mad at it. I think it was a gutsy call. It didn't work out. Had it worked out, he would have been a genius for it. So that you kind of get what you get in those situations. It's either going to pay off or people are going to make fun of you for it. But I don't hold it against him. I don't think it's a bonehead.
It didn't work out because Lamar can't throw a pass.
Lamar can't throw a pass, and they could not block Pittsburgh all game.
Yeah. So try and win it on you try and steal it at the end. I get it.
Regroup, kick the field goal, regroup, and do something else.
Nah, you go for it at that point. If you're struggling this much throughout the game with the 0 blitz that they're setting, and they're not really changing up their defensive style, go for the walk-off, make a statement. If you don't get it,
they made a statement. They kept Cincinnati.
They didn't make the statement they wanted.
No, but I think there's no team in the AFC
Lamar.
North that isn't 6-6 at this point. So,
but my thing is that, okay, with the rivalry, what it is between the Ravens and Steelers, all right, all the talk going into that game was this was the Steelers' last stand. The Steelers had to win that game to keep any hope of the playoffs alive. And if you're the Ravens, okay, yeah, you could say, oh, make a statement and you can win it now. Go to overtime. Go to overtime. All right, if you lose in overtime, fine, you lose in overtime. But you literally had just gone down the field to set yourself up to tie that game. So what, after looking good at the beginning and then not looking good for basically the rest of the game up until that drive. So what, based off of that drive, that gave me more reason to go to overtime instead of trying to win it right then and there.
Nah, I say you still go for the 2.
I say kick the field goal.
And that's why you're not a champion.
That's why the Baltimore isn't going to be a champion.
I'm just saying, had we gone for field goals, even if we missed, it would have been a little bit easier for me losing to the Lions. Because had we kicked field goals and not gone for 2, we would have won that game by a point or at least taken it to overtime again.
Why do you guys want to win games? You know?
I don't. I want Zimmer gone.
He's going to win out the rest of the year.
No, you shut the fuck up with that wild card.
NFC Championship, baby.
I'm going to kill you.
But that wild card just to keep him another year.
I know, right? At this point in Lamar's career, like, he should understand a 0 blitz, or at least when he sees coming, know what to do differently. It seems like it's just too easy for teams just to blitz up the middle on him and just, take him out of the games now.
The game that we hyped up most last week was Burrow versus Herbert, obviously, as quarterbacks 1 and 2. And then that game kind of lost some of its appeal when Burrow, shocker, but you never heard this before, got hurt. And his pinky looked like the dude from the Goonies.
Sloth?
Oh.
Yeah, there you go.
You guys love the Goonies.
So anyway, Burrow's pinky apparently has the same issue that Russell Wilson had with his finger earlier in the year. He doesn't require surgery. He's going to try and play through it. The Bengals were quasi-threatening the Ravens there for a bit for the division. Obviously, this is a bit of a hamper on it. Do you guys think that Burrow can get through this Goonie-like pinky?
I would say if this was the early 90s, yeah, but these players nowadays are too soft. So no.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think it's going to work out, but who knows? Joe Burrow's done weirder things to me, so I think it might work out. I don't think he would be saying the things he's saying if it was. It might just look bad. Like Aaron Rodgers' toe looked bad, but he can still go out and play at a decent level. So I'm not that concerned about it. But yes, players of this generation are way softer. They take their helmets off when they punch each other in the face. And that's just immature and lame.
That's it. That's actually a smart thing.
No, Andre Johnson and Cortland Finnegan punched each other in the face repeatedly with helmets on. That was the greatest thing in the world.
I remember that.
I think they're a game behind Baltimore in the division. I haven't really heard how severe I know like what you said, it's similar to Russell Wilson's, but I mean, to be honest with you, Cincinnati wins that game if they don't fumble that ball. Because they were coming back. And he fumbled.
Yeah, that changed the whole momentum of the game.
It did.
If Cincinnati goes down and score, they're probably going to just take over that game and win. But the fumble brings all the momentum back to San Diego, and Cincinnati never recovered after that.
Right. But as far as does he get through the injury, I guess it'll depend on how they play it, you know? I mean, he obviously won't be as effective.
They say he's not going to miss Sunday's game, so we'll see how that goes.
No, he's gonna play through it. Here's the a few things. One, if you look at, it's apparently not to the severe extent that Russ's was, but it is similar in the fact that it does screw up that entire finger, which is on his throwing hand. If you looked at him on the sideline Sunday when he tries to squeeze the ball, he had visible pain. And more importantly, at the end of the day, we're talking about the Bengals. This is prime Bengals. When everything seems to be going right, something goes wrong. So here they are knocking on the door with a vulnerable Ravens team and looking like, they have an opportunity to get the division, and they stumble. So this is the Bengals that we know.
I mean, Brett Favre played through a broken throwing thumb for a season.
Joe Burrow,
let him go do copper fit. He'll be all right.
Tell Favre to get a copper fit glove for his hand, and he'll just start slinging that thing
with some Wranglers on.
Oh, somebody else.
It is Bengals-esque. You are correct. That is
every time.
They had a game one against the Steelers, and then Vontaze Burfict decided to take out Antonio Brown's head.
You can even go back further. Man. Carson Palmer gets his knee shredded.
Oh, that's right.
Maybe that's why AB's handing out fake vaccination card. He doesn't.
Yeah, because Vontaze Burfict destroyed him.
Gave him CTE right on the spot. All right. Let's wrap this show up with bets. Again, we will save the bowl bets for a later show when we get closer, as Chico brings the cat into things. So we will focus on NFL bets for the week. Josh or Carl, if you want to throw some UFC bets in, feel free. And also, the Army-Navy game is this weekend, so you can feel free to do that as well. I will not partake in that because I am technically not allowed to. So that is that.
I can start. I got two. I would take the Cardinals at -2 over the Rams. They are at home. I think the Cardinals can take that. And then the Bucks are minus 3.5 at home against the Bills, and I will take that 3.5 and run with it.
I'll give you two quick UFC bets here while I'm pulling up my my NFL bets. There's really only one fight where you're looking at an underdog that's going to make money. I think that's Kai Kara France. He's a plus 120 right now, so he's a slight underdog. But him against Cody Garbrandt, I think he does really well. Cody Garbrandt hasn't looked very good, as I said early on in the show. It's his first fight at flyweight, so I wouldn't expect too much. You could potentially bet on Oliveira here since he is also a slight underdog. You could bet those two, but I definitely think I forget what we were talking about. It was one of those fights was heavily juiced on the over 1.5 rounds.
Yeah, that was the Oliveira fight.
That was the Oliveira fight. So I mean, depending on what that line's at right now, I would probably take that too. But nothing really special there. There's not really a lot of dogs. I can't find the Dominic Cruz line against Munoz. That was a pick'em line, yeah. They were both.
It wasn't one. I had them both at negative 110.
Yeah, I was like,
Okay.
you guys have them at minus 110. I have them at even money.
Yeah, so either way, it's a pick'em. On a lot of those, I'll probably just put something out on Twitter before the card shows up, like my 5 best ones for the card that you can parlay on. But I'm not going to try and go through pick'ems right now on that. As far as the NFL goes, I'd like the Steelers at a +3 against the Vikings. Like I said, I think the Steelers win this game, and it's Zimmer's last game as a head coach. The only reason he didn't get fired was because we had a short week. I think after this, he's gone. I'm all plus money this week on my bets, so I'm pulling a Chico here. I'm going to take Baltimore plus 2.5 against Cleveland. I'm just not that impressed with Cleveland, and I think that Baltimore kind of bounces back. They're kind of got some pressure on them now, considering they're only a game up on Cincy. I think they're going to try pretty hard to beat Cleveland, and Cleveland just hasn't been the same since the OBJ situation. So I'd like Baltimore to plus 2.5. I think that game's probably going to be close, but I see Baltimore winning it. And then for my final one here, where was it? I had one more and I just lost it. Oh, Cincy at nope. I thought San Francisco was plus money against Cincy. They are not. So that is not it. I'll take Buffalo as a 3.5 point dog against Tampa. Let's see. Let's see if the Bills really are dead. I'll take plus 3.5 against Tampa for the Bills.
Wow.
Dead. Buried.
Yeah, and I'll agree fully if they get just absolutely trounced by the Bucks this week.
Chico.
All right.
By the way, nobody
Taking the
taking
Rams?
RB Navy.
I'm taking
shit.
Navy.
You're taking Navy with the 7.5?
I'm taking him a money line.
You're out of your fucking mind.
Navy
Plus
is
250,
trash this year.
baby.
Okay.
And
I was like,
Enjoy losing your $5.
I don't. Why are we
on that.
surprised
Michigan
that
was supposed to
Chico's
lose
picks?
too. But did they?
You're
Okay,
taking
I don't
Navy
know.
on money line.
I don't know why anybody
I'm
here is
telling you right
surprised
now,
that
I know
Chico is
nothing
taking
about these
Navy.
teams besides you
Send us
two
the
have
ticket.
served for this country. Thank you. But when I see a plus money line and I like it, I'm taking it.
You're so bold.
I'm just letting you know that like Navy did win for like 15 years straight, but they've lost 3 years in a row, and they are not looking like they're going to take that
And they're
comeback
due for
anytime
one.
soon.
That's what
They're
you're
not
telling me.
fucking due for one.
Look,
They're not
here we
even-
go. Look, let me just say something. Ever since Army hired Jeff Monken from Georgia Southern,
Yep.
and that was when Georgia Southern beat, what was it, Michigan or Florida or one of those fucking teams.
Notre
And
Dame.
that was the year that Nick Saban said, I will never fucking schedule Georgia Southern again. But it got him prepared. That was the year they won a national championship against LSU. Jeff Monken's a damn good coach, and he's been running that that offense forever, and that really changed the time. You don't even know who fucking Jeff Monken is, Chico.
No, I don't.
Of course you don't.
I want to know him. Does he have a book? Send it to me. I'll read it. I got a Kindle. I don't have.
Let's just say Navy's going to run the style of offense that New England ran against the Bills on Monday night. It's going to be very run heavy. They're not going to throw the ball at all. It's going to be very boring.
I was like, they're going to throw less passes than Mac Jones.
Fucking wishbone, baby.
I will say this. I would probably take the 7.5 with Navy because it is such a big game. It's a huge game.
It's not going to be close. I promise you, it's not going to.
Yeah, I know. Navy's going to run the.
All right, so hold on. I just want to clarify. Hold on.
Run them all the way out.
Okay, so I want to clarify here. Josh is taking Army minus 7.5.
Yes.
Carl is taking Navy plus the 7.5.
I'm taking Navy plus 7.5, but Army will win the game.
No, you're taking a point. You've established.
Yeah.
Chico said, I don't need points. Give me the money line.
Yes.
Okay, so there's your Army Navy.
You just want some plus money line bullshit.
All right, Chico, what
money, baby?
He's going to parlay it with 4 other trash bets, and then he's going to feel like shit. So it's fine.
Yeah.
You know what?
What's going to happen?
He'll pull a
team
Steven.
that's supposed to win is going to kill me, and then I'm going to sit here and cry with my cat. It's fine.
Yep.
He'll pull a Steven, Dan.
Chico, what's the he doesn't bet real money. Calm down. Chico, what other bets do you have for the weekend?
I got the Rams money line over Arizona. I'm taking the Cowboys with the points at 4, Steelers with the points at 3, and Atlanta plus 2.5 over the Panthers.
I actually like that bet too.
I do too.
Atlanta 2.5.
I think it's going to be a really shitty game, but I think it's going to come down to like a last-second field goal or touchdown. It's going to be like a fucking 10-3 or 9. I don't know. It's going to be terrible.
Oh yeah, because they're both incompetent.
I will watch though. My money just.
All right, so 2 UFC bets for me to start. I'll take Tuivasa. It's a pick'em minus 110. Pray to God he gets it done in the first round because if not, we're screwed on that. And then I'll take the fight that we talked about, Josh. I'll take Iggy at the plus 145 against Emmett.
Iggy,
whatever. I don't pronounce things correctly on the show. We know that. All right, yeah. NFL.
So
I think we're all in agreement. We're taking the Steelers tomorrow. Nobody trusts Zimmer and the Vikings.
Nope.
I'll take the Ravens. I'll take the money line. It's only plus 120, but I think they win the game outright. I think this is an overreaction. The Browns aren't very good either. And, kind of like what you guys said, I think it's a get right. I'm not going to do that. Chico, I'm on board with you with the Falcons there.
It's free money.
Nobody's touching Arizona?
I'm taking the Rams.
You're taking the fuck because it's plus.
Yeah.
And because it's Matt Stafford. And when they beat them,
I am going to take
Adrian's goddamn face.
I'm going to take the Lions plus 8.5 against the Broncos. Lions are on a win streak, people. Can't just be giving away 8.5.
They only get one a year.
I almost took them to win. All right. I was like, let me not get too crazy. Okay. Navy, understandable. Don't take the Lions.
I'll take the Bengals getting one, and I'll just take the money line at plus 105 against the Niners. The Niners are god awful. They're god awful. All right, if Burrow can remotely throw with the pinky, the Bengals win that game. So take the
George
Bengals.
Kittle had a monster of a game last week. Don't count him out against the Bengals.
And they still lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, they play the Seahawks. They always lose to the Seahawks.
It is at Paul Brown also. It is in Cincinnati.
Nobody cares. That's not a real place.
And lastly, I will take Josh's favorite quarterback in the NFL, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, laying 12.5 to the Bears. Justin Fields is coming back for the first time in a couple of weeks.
To what?
And as Rodgers made known in their last game, he owns the Bears. And he'll own them very easily as well this week. So
We almost made it. We almost made it a full episode without bringing up Aaron Rodgers. God damn it.
Wait, that's a thing? I'll bring him up every time then. It'll be the off season. I'll talk about him. Hey, Ovaltine versus Pornor. Who are we taking? The UFC guys. The
We
main
already
guy.
talked about that.
Yeah, but I'm saying, isn't
You said
this
something
guy
about
the?
Ovaltine.
Is it? What's his name?
Poirier?
The other one.
Charles Oliveira?
Yeah,
Is he not the
Oliveira.
champion?
He is the champ, yes.
And why is he?
Look, just you
I
missed the
talked
show.
about it. You
We,
missed it.
I'm
yeah,
not gonna go
this
watch
has been
it.
discussed in depth.
Yeah, Chico, go back and
Chico-
watch the first 20 minutes that you
He's
weren't here.
plus. They're saying Porter is favored. You can't
Yeah,
do that to
he-
the champ.
I will message you after this and I will give you a fucking parlay for the UFC and I will explain to you why
And
Poirier
how are
is
we
the
not
favorite.
jumping on Pena? Plus 600?
No. Okay. All right.
We
You put
discussed
in
that
your-
as well.
Yeah.
Chico, I was the one that advocated for the plus 600.
He did. Dan did actually.
Yeah. You go ahead and put that on a separate parlay from the one that I'm giving you. Do not
all right.
fuck up my
I'm
parlay.
going to put that with Navy, and I'm going to be sitting for real.
Put real money on that.
I'm going to go donate some
All right.
plasma. I'll be
So
back.
before Chico comes up with any other crazy bets, that is it for this show. Come back Friday, also on Twitch. By the way, this is the first time we did this on Twitch. So if you were watching on Twitch and very confused about the show, I apologize. But come back on Friday for the normal Twitch show in which we talk about movies and music and stuff. Doing two things. Very cool. One, for the first time ever on the show, we're going to talk about video games. Top 5 video game franchises. So we're going to go down that rabbit hole. You know, you want to go old school, Mario, Sonic, all that stuff. You want to go new school, Call of Duty, whatever. So we'll dive into that. And also, the Knights of the Round Table here, Carl included, as he'll be
Oh
back.
yeah.
We are doing our, we'll call them super bands. We're going to do 2 versions, an all time and then an our time, since we're all around the same age. So that works. 4-piece band, lead singer, guitar, bass, drum. So we'll have an all time group and then a our time group. So tune in on Friday night. We will do those. It'll be fun. I'm sure Chico will have something completely
Ridiculous as always.
Can we talk
Yeah.
80s?
Yes, and Carl,
I'm
I
sure
really want
eight-
to talk about the fucking 80s.
Wait,
sure
we can go
80s
into
will be
Oasis
brought
too.
I mean, that's our time, kind of.
I was going to say, I'll
Fantasy
spoiler
fantasy.
alert, neither Liam nor Noel is my lead singer.
The Liam
Just-
Gallagher haircut.
What? You look like Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber.
my car looks similar.
You look like a crack
Shaggin' wagon.
of Mark Davis.
The alarm alone was $200.
You called me a fucking homeless man earlier. I'm getting my shots in now.
I didn't call you a
called
homeless
you-
man. I called you a
He
homeless
called
man.
you
I
a
get it right.
hobo Santa Claus.
The hobo chic or something like that. I don't
No,
know what the
Santa
fuck you're
Claus.
saying.
Understand your guys'
Oh, hobo
dilemma.
Santa Claus.
Not everyone can look as pretty as me.
We have 2
That's why we
mustaches
bring you
here
on,
now.
Chico.
Hey, you're the pretty one.
The eye candy. I
You
get
with
it.
your Dunder
That's right.
Mifflin mug.
We're certainly not bringing you on for your bet tips.
Yeah.
It wins you money if you bet them.
He did get Michigan right. You can't say that.
Boom!
That's the only
What
one.
I'm gonna live out
what
my
about
rest
all
of
his
my life.
old dominions?
Ain't
No
Old
Old
Dominion.
No.
University of Louisiana.
Carl,
Monroe.
you're hyping him.
Go
That's the
Warhawks.
exact opposite of what I'm trying to do.
I'm sorry.
All right. By the way, should we show the people, Josh, the new things that we have for the Friday show?
Yeah, why not? Might as
All
well
right,
share.
So let's just. So here we go. All right, wait. This is not appropriate at the moment. It needs to size, but okay, we'll have this if it wants to come up here.
Oh, great. It cuts off your silly haircut. We don't need to modify it. We'll just keep it as is.
We don't
Oh, you guys. Yeah, there we go. It's a little delayed on my end. But yeah, so there's that, and where we normally have our beard logo there, we'll put the new guy up there.
Whoa!
Boom.
So all that exciting stuff come Friday. So yeah, we'll do that stuff. Carl will desperately try and talk 80s. I will shut him down immediately.
Kim
And,
Carnes,
it'll be a lot of
baby,
fun.
Betty Davis eyes.
Yeah, I can't with this shit. Good job. All right.
Some rats.
So until Friday night.
Round.
Save it for Friday.